This is Dr. Mark Scheuer, Chief Medical Officer at Persyst. The following video provides a brief overview of a workflow that many clinicians find useful for evaluating the spike and sharp wave detections marked by Persyst's P12 spike detection algorithm. Left-click on the SpikeReview icon to open the SpikeReview program. SpikeReview opens, showing the detections averaged by detection electrode foci. Each focus is listed at the top of a 1-second column of averaged EEG traces. Here, T3 is the predominant focus, with 576 detections at this sensitivity setting. There is prominent artifact in the T3 detection average caused by F8 electrode artifact. Clicking on the artifact reduction icon markedly reduces the interference caused by this bad electrode signal. A clear waveform average is evident in the left temporal region and is consistent with a left mid-temporal sharp wave discharge. Double-click on that column to open the individual T3 detections. All detections at the T3 focus, displayed in red, are now arranged back-to-back as 1-second snippets of EEG. Many clear-cut left mid-temporal sharp waves are evident. Paging forward shows more sharp wave detections from this focus. Thus, a left mid-temporal sharp wave focus has been confirmed. Left-click on some exemplar abnormalities of this type in order to include them in the final report summary. Selected discharges become enclosed in a rectangle. Choose up to 20 or 30 examples in order to create a nice average in the final report summary, or fewer if the discharges are not frequent. Now click on the Overview tab to return to the summary screen of average detections. Evaluate the other averaged waveforms to determine if there are additional likely spike or sharp wave foci. Here, there is a T5 focus that appears to be a variant of the predominant mid-temporal focus. There also appears to be an independent sharp wave focus at P3. Double-clicking on the P3 group opens its individual detections, arranged back-to-back. This confirms that there are focal sharp waves occurring independently at P3. Left-click on several of the best discharges in order to save them for the final report summary. Double-click on any individual discharge in order to see it in the setting of 5 seconds of the original EEG. Then, double-click on the expanded view to return to the prior page. You can also click on the blue time hyperlink at the top of each discharge in order to automatically scroll the main EEG page to that time. Now we've returned to the Overview page. Continue to assess the spike average groups for other waveforms that are consistent with epileptiform abnormalities. Some of the groups, such as the FZ and CZ averages, are probably related to sleep transients. The average group at F7, which is derived from only 4 individual waveforms, looks as though it's probably composed of some real underlying epileptiform abnormalities. Double-click on that group to further assess it. There are clearly significant left anterior temporal abnormalities in this group. Left-click on several of them to include them in the final report summary. Now we again return to the Overview screen. Independent sharp wave foci have already been identified at T3, P3, and F7. At this point, increase the sensitivity of the spike detection display to its maximal value. This is done to assist in finding rarer or less well-formed epileptiform abnormalities. Both the averages and all individual waveforms should be assessed in order to complete the review. Note that increasing the sensitivity increased the number of T3 detections from 576 to 676, and the number of detections at P3 from 13 to 29. Also note that there now appears to be a possible sharpwave focus at the O1 electrode. Double-clicking on this group reveals the presence of several probable left occipital sharpwave discharges that have a different field of distribution from the epileptiform abnormalities previously observed during this review. Again, select several of these by left-clicking on them to add them to the final report summary. At this point, return to the overview screen and begin review of all individual detections. Again, this is done to search for examples of other types of real epileptiform abnormalities that were not discovered during the initial review process. To do this, right-click on any of the average groups and select Show Constituent Spikes. This will arrange all the detections back-to-back by detection focus, immediately following the average waveforms. Page forward through these individual detections. Here, the left mid-temporal detections are displayed. The other detection foci follow. Note that on this page there are additional examples of P3 spikes and sharp waves. I'm selecting several more to add to the final report summary. Complete the review of all raw detections, then proceed to the final report page, which is accessed by clicking on the Final Report tab towards the top right of the page. Final Report shows several things. First, it displays averages of the exemplar discharges that were hand-selected during review, arranged by detection focus. Here it shows a T3 group, a P3 group, an O1 group, and an F7 group. The T3 average, for instance, is composed of the 18 underlying sharpwave examples that were selected earlier during review. Then, following these average groups, are all of the exemplar raw detections that were hand-selected as being representative of significant findings. These are arranged back-to-back by focus in 1-second snips. Final Report makes it easy to view a summary of the key interictal epileptiform abnormality findings that were hand-selected using SpikeReview. Each example can rapidly be assessed in the context of more EEG by either double-clicking on the individual detection or by clicking on the time hyperlink towards the top. Final Report can be viewed using the Persyst SpikeReview program, or the results can be printed to paper or to a PDF file. Following this initial review for interictal epileptiform abnormalities, which takes only minutes in most cases, traditional review of the EEG can commence, aiming to discover any types of epileptiform abnormalities that were not revealed in this initial process, and to further assess the relative frequency and state relationships of any abnormalities that were detected.